So today we're going to look at where to stand and how to do the teaching setup. So the most simple way is to have your mat set up in a T-shape like Paddy and I do right now. And you, the teacher, will have the teacher's mat at the top of the T, so the horizontal part of the T that's at the top, and then the student mat is the vertical part of the T running top to bottom. So Paddy's on the student mat right now, and I'm on the teacher's mat. This is the most simple and effective way of setting up. And also, it's the same thing if it was a big group of people, then Paddy would just have other people next to him, but my mat would still be perpendicular to theirs. And so yeah, this is how we start off. And then where to stand whilst you're teaching. Well, it can vary a little bit. Of course, you might want to move around so you can get some different perspectives, different viewpoints. But what I would say is, most of the time, if I'm standing on this mat, I will usually be demonstrating. So I'll stand here because I'm showing him, okay, we're going through high lunge or whatever it is here. And so I'm demonstrating on the mat. Or I'm demonstrating and mirroring, so I might be taking him through tree pose, this kind of thing, and we'll get into mirroring in a later basic teaching skill. If I'm not doing one of those things, then my preference is actually to get a little bit out of the way. And one of the best places that you can be in the room is to stand in the corner of your room. So for filming purposes, we're at a funny angle, so I don't have a corner of the room right now, but imagine that this was the corner, and then from here, what this means is I can see the entire room very easily, so I've got a full view of the room, plus I'm not standing in the drishti point, I'm not standing in the gaze point of the student. So if Paddy's doing a balance, he can find his gaze out in front of him, and I'm not moving around in that, getting in his way. If it was the case that I decided to stay on the mat and not demonstrate, then watch your posture. Make sure you look like a yoga teacher, stand tall, have your weight evenly across both feet so you continue to model long spine and healthy posture whilst you're still in their viewpoint. Another place that can be useful to stand is at the back. So you might go towards the back of the room. Again, I'm out of the drishti point. If I'm just using verbal cueing, then being at the back of the room can be a useful place to stand. I'm not moving around and distracting them. They're still getting the audio, they're still getting the verbal cues, but they're able to go into their practice. If you are, when you are doing your demonstrating, you need to be a little bit thoughtful, a little bit mindful about how you do it. And I'll get much more, we'll do a whole basic teaching skill on demonstrating next week. So we'll get into that. But for now, let's say you just wanted to demonstrate Tadasana. Your initial instinct might be to come and stand in front of the student and give some cues from here. And that's okay, the instinct is good, but what happens is if you stand directly in front of them, you end up eyeballing each other and staring each other out because my eyes are now his drishti point, which is kind of intense. So what I would suggest is actually you just take a small step to one side. You can still give him all the visual cues that you want, but now Paddy's drishti point is over my shoulder. He doesn't feel like I'm glaring at him, glaring into his eyes. He can work on fixing his eyes on one point and bringing his awareness inside of himself. So a little step out to the left. When we demonstrate the sun salutation, the ideal way of doing the sun salutation is that I should just do it on my mat the way I normally would, so facing this way. Paddy gets a lot more information by watching the sun salutation from my profile than he does face on. So turning this way when I'm demonstrating is a good idea. But doing Tadasana this way is also a good idea. So you have to find how to switch between the two. And what I find works very well is I set up Tadasana like so, da-da-da-da-da-da, finish Tadasana, coming into Sun Salutation, okay, and inhale the arms up overhead. And then on the exhale, I turn. Exhale, fold forwards, hands to the floor. So I just did the little turn. Now he gets to see me more clearly. If I don't do that, then you can end up getting this as well. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forwards, and we've got the headbutt. So you want to look out for that. You want to avoid the headbutt. Not a big part of yoga, headbutting. So yeah, turn the Sun Salutation this way, and you can demonstrate Tadasana from here also. There's nothing wrong with doing that. If you chose to go in profile, that's absolutely fine. So where to stand? Stand in the corners, stand on your mat, but then don't distract or demo, and stand at the back of the room. And just be careful about not moving around too much. So it can get distracting when you have a teacher who's darting around the room the whole time. So it's good to get some varying viewpoints, but a lot of the time, you know, if Paddy's going through a Sun Salutation and I'm standing here in the corner, I got a lot of information standing from here. I don't necessarily, it's questionable how much I'm getting by constantly moving to the back, moving to the front, and watching him from all these different angles. Sure, sometimes if he stops in down dog, maybe I want to switch to the back and see, get a different angle on his legs, but not a constant pacing around. So yeah, this is just a little bit on where to stand, how to set your mat up, and that's going to be really useful for you as you go into the practicum at the end of this week. So thank you very much, and thank you, Paddy, and I'll see you in the next one.